So today we're going to talk about sex, which, let's be honest, we probably don't talk about sex enough. I'm here today as a prude, going to talk about sex. So the most commonly asked question from both men and women usually surrounds like, when do you have sex? What do I do if she won't have sex with me? What does it mean? Like, I've noticed that a lot of the time men fear being in the friend zone if the sex hasn't happened quite quickly, and women fear more commonly being left after sex or being used for sex. I very rarely get a man come to me concerned about being used for sex, but I'm not going to say it doesn't happen because anything is possible. So there's a big disparity between men and women when it comes to sex, and we'd be lying if we was to say, oh, we're on a level playing field. We're still not there yet, and we certainly do seem to judge women a bit more harshly if they have sex sooner. Both men and women tend to judge women more harshly if they have sex quite soon, or if they are perhaps more sexually open. Don't agree with it, it's not cool, but these are the facts. So I've had a little think about what are the most sort of common rules that people have around sex, and I think we should have a chat about this and sort of think about, is this rule realistic? Is this rule necessary? And I'll let you draw your own conclusions on this one. The first rule, which I've heard about, is that you should have sex on the third date. So typically we might think, oh, we'll have a kiss on the first date, heavy petting on the second date, third date is sex. If she's not having sex with you on the third date, that's it, it's done. Okay, I hate this rule. I can't press that point harder. I feel like this is very limiting and also puts massive pressure on people. So by third date, you're maybe worrying that, oh, is this person wanting to move faster than I want to? This is really awkward. This could be the case for men and women. We often feel like maybe men are more inclined to want to have sex on the third date than women are. But is this true? You let me know whether you are a man who likes to take things a bit slower. I'd love to know that. I don't feel like there should be a time frame on when you first have sex, because I think time frames can be a bit dangerous. They put pressure on you, and also not everyone's going to agree with you on your time frame. It should never be like, oh, I can't have sex on a first date. Even if you feel very comfortable and you feel like it's just, you're not even after a relationship, who cares? I'm just gonna have some casual, safe sex. I'm not against that. If you're looking for a long-term relationship, we typically say hold off on having sex too soon, because you will obviously learn more about a person over time, and it's not that having sex on the first date, for me, I don't think, ruins it. It's more that if they're a bad person, you won't have had a chance to really discover that on any level, whereas waiting does give you an opportunity to suss that person out just a little bit more. The second one, which is interesting, is to wait until they say, I love you. I read a book recently. I'm not going to say what book it was because I don't agree with it and I don't want to put someone's book down, but it was written by someone who's obviously very intelligent, a psychologist, and she said, don't have sex until, it was written for women, so it was don't have sex until he's told you he loves you. So I'm assuming that this is geared at women who want monogamy. What if he just knows your rule and he says he loves you, but he doesn't mean it? Saying I love you is pretty futile and doesn't mean anything. It's 3 words. It's more the actions of a person that we should be paying attention to rather than words. And interestingly, which cracked me up a little bit, is this lady said that her husband told her he loved her on the second date, which made me think maybe on the first date she told him, I've got this rule, I won't have sex with you until you've told me I love you. And he's like, okay, well, I want sex as soon as possible. I love you. It's like a rule that to me makes absolutely no logical sense. So I wouldn't wait for someone to say that they love you, because it's just words, and actions definitely speak louder than words. Personally, I'd be worried about a guy that told me he loved me on the second date. That would be, for me, a massive red flag. Obviously, in this situation, they're now married and they're having a wonderful time together, But as a general rule, I would be a bit cautious if someone was moving at that kind of pace. The third common rule around sex is that we must wait for monogamy. Don't hate this, but don't love it either, because some people don't necessarily know what they want from a relationship, and maybe you don't either, and you're just going along nicely and organically, and then throwing labels onto things is a little bit restrictive. So I think it's an okay rule to have if you feel like you're not very good with your boundaries, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary, and it really does depend on what type of relationship that you want and what type of relationship that they want. So I wouldn't necessarily say you must wait till monogamy. I think it's a personal choice. And my last one is a bit of a joke one. Have sex as soon as possible so that if it's bad, you can just get out and you've not wasted any time. Terrible. So yeah, I don't know where I got that one from, maybe from my own brain, who knows? But I have definitely heard men say that before, like, oh, I like to have sex as soon as possible because if the sex is bad, I'm not interested. That's an interesting one. I don't agree with that. I'll leave it there. In my opinion, there is no right or wrong way in which to decide when you will have sex, but it's important that you feel happy with your decision. Research suggests that people who know their motivation, accept their motivation, and feel that they're doing the right thing are much more likely to have a positive experience and feel more positive after they've had sex. So it's really good to ask yourself, what is my motivation for having sex? Is it the right motivation? Am I happy with that motivation? If I'm not happy with that motivation, what's going on with me? And if you are happy with the motivation, then of course, then maybe this is the right time for you. There are absolutely tons of reasons and motivations why people have sex. It can be to simply relieve tension, it can be because it feels fantastic, it can be because you need validation, or it can be something like because you want to increase your bond with your partner. It's really good if you can identify what that need is within you. Studies show that there are two main things that should be considered before we have sex with someone. Firstly, we should consider what STIs are out there and how we are going to prevent picking up something that we definitely do not want in our lives. And secondly, we need to communicate. A lot of the time people think that if we talk about sex before we have sex, it kind of makes it a little bit like boring and a bit like planned. But actually, studies suggest that couples who plan sex, couples who talk about sex before they've even ever had sex, have more fulfilling sex lives. So it's all about communication. On the surface, it might sound a little bit clinical to talk about sex, but you don't have to talk about sex in a clinical way. You can find out from your partner what turns them on. I think it's hugely exciting to talk about sex without having sex. Like, the lead up to sex is absolutely vital, and it's really good to get a good idea about what your partner likes and doesn't like, because then of course when you do have sex it's much more likely that they're going to enjoy it and therefore that you're going to enjoy it as well. And the last thing that I want to say is I think it's really, really important that people are very honest about their motivations around sex. Never coerce someone to have sex, knowing full well that they want something that you don't want, but you just, want to have sex and you don't really care for their feelings. Don't be that person. And also, don't just assume what someone's intentions are. I think it's fine to have a conversation with someone about where they want to go with a particular relationship. It could be that you're sat there thinking, oh, I don't want to have sex with her because I don't want her to get all attached. Sometimes people do have that opinion. And then if you had a conversation, she might be like, actually, I too want something casual. So let's just get on with this. Let's wear protection, let's enjoy ourselves. So you do not know until you have a conversation with someone. And even if you have a conversation with someone, of course, it could be that they're being dishonest, but it's great to know that you've done everything that you can do to set yourself up to a great experience with someone new. So thank you so much for watching today. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe. You can head on over to my website if you want more information about how I work one-on-one with clients, and you can also find me on social media at Abby Blaze. Bye bye.